This video I want to speak about what happened to one of the Todais today. Um, One of the Todais got hit by a car. Gave me a call right when it happened, and he seemed to be okay on the phone. He said he was okay. So what happened was, he's riding his bike. His car came in front of him, got hit by the car, flipped over the bike, or flipped over the car, smashed onto the windshield, pretty much cracked the entire windshield, landed on the floor. The guy in the car is yelling at him, saying, "Why didn't you get out the way," or whatever. This is the type of neighborhood that we live in. And then the guy in the car takes off. There were witnesses there. Construction workers were there. Luckily, the Todai got the license plate number of the person that was responsible for the hit and run. So there was no blood. He hurt his hip a little bit. He's okay. The ambulance was there, the police were there, the fire trucks were there. The ambulance checked him out for a little bit. He was actually on the way to the training when that happened. I stopped by to check to see he was okay. Everything was good. And then 10-15 minutes later, he left and started to train with us. So, as if nothing happened. Now, I think it's not a good thing that happened. Obviously, we don't want to get hit by cars, but how his body was able to withstand that trauma and that physical force, and how I didn't see it happen, but seeing how afterwards he's okay, he's not bleeding, he can still move, still walk, still training just fine immediately after. You know, I think it's a great thing, and I think a lot of it has to do with his training, his kung fu training, just bettering himself. Body, mind, and spirit. His body was able to withstand that experience, survive it. His mind was not, he wasn't overly concerned. He wasn't very traumatized. He handled the situation very well. He wasn't even angry. Handled the situation very well. And I think the training helped a lot. Not just the physical training, but all the training combined. Body, mind, and spirit. Just helping you get through for what other people may view as tragic experiences. Some other people, they might get hit by a car, may possibly die, may possibly be in the hospital for many months, broken bones, fractures, but he came out just fine. And part of the physical training, I think, when you build up your body, you get it strong. When you're flexible, when you know how to move your body, you could be suspended in the air and then you know how to move your body in a certain way, so that when you land, you don't land in a way where you will injure yourself. I think there's a big difference when you hit somebody with a car that's trained in Kung Fu or martial arts, or just trained, takes care of his body. He'll be able to survive the situation a lot more than a person that's not trained. Just the reflexes, the responses. I mean, just in the training for combat, for example, you get used to certain reflexes. Certain people, or people throw punches and kicks at you, you get to know how to move out the way so you don't get injured. If you don't have that type of training, those punches and kicks will keep connecting and you keep getting hurt. even the responses of the visual responses. When you see something, you know how to move, and your body can move like that, opposed to having this lag time in between and not being able to have that response, that visual response that immediately signifies to the body to move when it needs to move. And those seconds, those split seconds, can mean life or death. So landing on your head and you get brain injury or a head injury could mean the end of your life. But as a martial artist or somebody that practices Kung Fu, you develop that type of response of where you're landing and then you brace yourself or you cover your head in time, or where your head doesn't smash onto the ground, but your hand might smash onto the ground, your arm smashes onto the ground. And that could have saved your life. So I think that instances like this show the difference between somebody that receives training and somebody that does not. I talked about the other week about the person across the street that got murdered. Doesn't look like he was trained in anything, but he was murdered, stabbed to death, along with his roommate, stabbed to death, and then burned, wrapped up in blankets and burned. I don't believe he had any type of training, but I believe if he did have training, development of the body, mind, and spirit, that might have helped the situation. Maybe helped the tragic situation. Not just that, but in this case with the car accident, in situations of where your body's in danger, you could respond immediately to protect yourself in order to survive. And that's what this training is all about. It's not about the competition fighting, it's about surviving. Even if you're older age or even younger age, a lot of times, especially now, it's starting to get colder. When the winter time comes around, there's a lot of ice out there. A lot of old people fall, slip down, and break bones, hurt themselves very bad, end up in the hospital for a very long time. Even my grandma on my mother's side recently passed away, and I believe what happened was she fell down and broke some bones. I don't know if she broke her hip or something. But there's different responses from a person that's trained, a person that's not trained. You slip and fall, get right back up. Nothing's broken. That's if you're trained, because you know how to fall in the right way. You don't get stiff, but you just go with the fall, and then you end up okay. But people that aren't trained, they stiffen up, and then they end up breaking a lot of bones, end up being in the hospital. So a lot of this training is preparing you to survive these spontaneous moments of danger. No matter if somebody's attacking you, no matter if there's a car coming at you at full speed and you got to get out the way, no matter if you slip and fall suddenly, or you're riding your bike and all of a sudden there's a pothole and then you go, you hit the pothole and then you fly over the bike. I've seen that happen several times. Or no matter if you see you're riding your bicycle and then you had to move immediately, you had this natural, quick, reflexive responses that help you survive. People don't think about these things and how important it is to keep your body in shape, keep you aware, and keep you mentally sharp. Because it could be any moment that you will have to respond to a certain situation with your total energy. And that moment could be the last moment if you do not respond in an efficient manner. So I just wanted to share that experience because this is close to the Kun. He trains in the Kun. And if it could happen to him, it could happen to us, any of us. And it's just closer to you when it happens to somebody that you know or somebody that you're close to. You're going to be more affected by the situation. Obviously, thousands and millions of things happen daily in Chicago and in the world at large. But when something happens to your family, somebody that you're close to, it hits home harder to get you to learn quicker. So I share that experience with you because I learned from his experience, and now I want you to learn from it as well. So then, if something like that ever happens to you, maybe you'll be better prepared. And when you're better prepared, it increases your chance of surviving a certain situation. That's why people will wear seatbelts. That's why people will wear bike helmets. That's why people take care of themselves so then their bodies are able to respond how they want it to respond at a certain situation. And I think that's a big part of what Kung Fu training is all about. It's not about fighting. It's about surviving.